know this truck's loud, so I'm going to speak loud. If it sounds like I'm screaming, it's because I am. Because there's two problems. Problems twofold. Number one, my phone, I dropped it, so the speaker, like when I'm on speakerphone, people can't hear me half the time. So, and then half the time they're like, "Why are you screaming at me?" Then the truck's just loud. Then they get exhaust. I need to put an exhaust on it. I say that time. But the community, and this is just a pretty blanket statement about the community. So it doesn't matter what community you're in. In the end, you have you, and if you're lucky, maybe one or two other people that you can definitely count on. The normal person in the world doesn't really know who these people are. They think they can count on everybody around them. You know, I've unfortunately been put in positions where I've had to call on people to do things out of the norm. We'll say that, out of the norm. You know, and they either jumped and did it, or they didn't. When the time comes for the community to do whatever it is that the community is preparing for, or the community has built, or whatever, you can automatically cut out 8 out of every 10 people involved. They're not going to play a part in it, especially if there's consequences to playing a part in it. They're just not going to play part. I know everybody's a badass until it's time to do badass shit, but you see what's going on around us today. The fucking world's falling apart, and everybody's just watching it happen. And I'm watching it happen too. I think a big part of it is those who would act have really no way of communication because they have implemented so many policies that you can't even speak about your own rights without the possibility of being having your door kicked in and your dog shot, and your kids fucking held at gunpoint in the corner. That's actually happened. To us, to Riley when he was 9, because he was such a threat. It happens. I don't know. I don't think that there's any recovery. And I think about it pretty often. I've tried not to so much lately because it was, part of my. I think it was part of. I don't know. I just think it was part of my recent. Well, not the problems I was having recently when after Jimmy killed himself. I had a lot stacked on my plate before then, a lot that I was dealing with. And part of that was just the stress I put myself under about what the fuck I see going on, but you can't do nothing about it. Nobody's going to stand up for you. Nobody's going to stand beside you and fight. And the people that will are 8 hours away or 9 hours away or 5 hours away. I mean, the chances of you holding them off for the time for the fastest person to get here. So the time for the fastest person to get to my house that would be willing, that I know for a fact would be willing to help in any way, is far above the time that it would take them to burn me out or whatever they would do to me. But I think we've already passed the tipping point. I don't think there's any going back. And like now, I think that most people are going to be involved. You're pushing a corner where you got to play the game. If your neighbor comes over and shoots your dog, or your neighbor comes over and let's say your neighbor sneaks in your house and rapes your kid, right? You kill him in the house. There's still a 50% chance you're going to jail. Now let's say the same neighbor does the same thing and you catch it on video. And you go down the street and you kill him. It's on video. You have it on video. But now there's a difference because you didn't kill him in your house in the act. Because you didn't find out until after the act. But you have it on video. They're still going to take you to jail for it. I mean, we live, it's complete fucking clown world. But the cog of the machine that makes it all turn, it all comes together because of the local force. Without the locals, feds couldn't do anything. There's not enough of them. I mean, I'm sure some people would comply, but the feds are pretty much hated to the point now that they've made themselves so hated by certain communities that, excuse me, it's moving work with drywall and sinus issues now. That I mean, they may act, but they made it. You know, you have the right to abolish or change your government. Talk about doing that shit and watch what happens to your ass. And be the badass that says, you know, when they come kick my door in, unless you stay up 24 hours a day. And here's the real problem you run into, is that the technology is so advanced today, they know when you're awake or asleep. And this device I hold in my phone is what lets them know. They can get warrants now to turn your cameras and microphones on your phone on without you knowing. That's real shit. If there was a detective that thought I was doing some crazy shit, they could turn the mic on my phone and listen into whatever's going on, whether I'm in the room talking to my wife or whatever, as long as they can get a signal and tap into it and listen to it. They do the same thing with the cameras. And I know that sounds like conspiracy theory, loony shit, but start looking into it. They've done it. They convicted people off that shit. And then it was probably some badass that, you know, well, they ever come kick my door in. They ever come kick your door, and here's what's going to happen. You're going to have about enough time to reach for your gun, which in their mind is going to give them the justified cause to kill you. And all these sheep ain't going to do shit about it. I mean, how many out of every killings where cops kill somebody is it justified? If I fear for my life and kill somebody, I got to go to jail. A cop, quote unquote, fears for their life and kills somebody. They act like they don't know who did it. For months, there was just a killing, a cop that killed a young female in, I want to say, New Mexico. James Freeman did a video on it. 3 weeks later, they still hadn't arrested the cop. How come if I kill somebody, you know, we'll let the court settle it. But if a cop kills somebody, it's, well, let's see what happened first. You know what I mean? I mean, the two-tier justice system, the justice system is fuckery from the beginning. But once it was obvious that it was two-tiered, at that point, people should just be like, yeah, fuck this, we don't need this. But they don't know of anything else. They can't think of anything else, which runs into the problem that even if the slimmest of possibilities that some shit happened and shit was to change, it wouldn't change for the better. It would actually probably change for the worse as a whole, because people are going to default to the only thing they've been told in life. You know, you must have community, you know, you must extort in order to pay for, you know, the police that you need. Oh, we got to have welfare because of, you know, whoever that won't get off their asses and go to work. Or, and I'm not against helping people. I try to help people every time I can. I've had a lot of help, especially recently. And the last 2 years, I've had a lot of help from everybody around me. I'm not against help. I'm against forced help. I'm against forced labor. You know, but we're not. We don't look at it that way because it's been sold to us our entire lives as just the way it is. You know, it's just the way it is. You got to pay. You got to pay your taxes, and the government just grows and grows and grows and grows. A little bit of change of the subject, but kind of the same. The EPA just fined Cummins. You know, Cummins Motors. They're Dodge trucks, semis, over a nitrogen issue. They somehow made their motors pass these nitrogen tests, but then they put them out for like 10 years, 2012 until present, where they're putting out too much nitrogen. $1.8 billion with a B. $1.8 billion. They were fined because of this. And like when I started thinking about it, I'm like, where does that money go? To government. What does government do with it? Grows. So they can go out and search and find somebody else to find. When the truth is that Cummins could have took that money and put it in $1.8 billion in R&D and made a better product to put out less pollution. You know, the Earth's a big filter. There's not much short of like nuclear holocaust, like everybody firing nukes off. There's not much we're going to do to destroy the Earth, unless we keep breeding humans like cockroaches. Which now we got more. You know, there's more border jumpers coming into the country than there is babies being born. Let that fucking sink in for a minute. You know, as an individual, though, what do you do? Because the community isn't going to back you. Call one of your, if you're one of these community people, call up somebody from your community and come up with some random shit, add something in it that is highly illegal, or could be getting them involved in something that could be highly illegal. Right? So there's risk now. They actually in their minds are going to believe there's risk. And see if they're still in your community at that point, or if they got other shit to do that day. You know, like right then. See if you can call them and say, hey man, I got all this shit I ain't supposed to have. It's got to get moved. No, don't even say that. Just say, hey, I need you to be at this place now. Bring a trailer and be ready to work. Why? Can't tell you. And see if they show up. Like, there's no communities. And I know the ideal of, there's just not. I'm sorry. You see, like, what do they call it? Shofar Mountain, which is nothing but a fucking scam. They scam those people out of their preps. And if you don't know this about old Pastor Joe, let's say you was to get involved in that group and you pay whatever amount of money it is to put a cabin on Shofar Mountain. You bring food in, you bring weapons in, you bring ammo in, and then something happens and you decide to leave, and you can go back. He made videos about this. He took them down, I think, but you can go back and I'm sure you'll see some shit that will prove it to you. But you bring ammo in, you bring guns in, you bring all this stuff in that's required, right? You're required by Pastor Joe to have this shit here in case of, end of the world or whatever tomorrow. But then something happens along the way. You're like, you know what? These ain't my kind of people. I'm out. Pastor Joe, you no longer get to keep your stuff, because by bringing it there, You're relinquishing that to the community. So what's Pastor Joe really doing? That whole thing is that whole group is a scam, top to bottom. They sell a lot of Jesus, and that's how they get it off. You know, I think that I would think people would be smarter than to buy Jesus, but apparently they're not, because they buy Jesus every day. And now they've started this other thing somewhere else. And look at the prices for these land plots, these 5-acre plots of land. It's Christian based. The Christians that believe government's their God. It's insanity. But still, go back to, it's all going to come down to legality and risk. What's the risk of getting caught? And how much time am I going to do if I get caught? That's what people are going to think. And like I said, call one of your community members up and just make up some scenario that's totally not true, or possibly could be true, and make them aware that don't even make them aware. Just tell them you can't tell them. Can't tell you right now. Let's see if they show up. Just 8 out of 10 are not going to show up. We've already passed the point of no return, I think. Personally, I think. I mean, our money's being devalued every day. People can't afford to do things that they could last year and the year before. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. They're eliminating the middle class. And most of the people, that small block will be considered the middle class is now going away. They don't spend their savings. Their credit cards are maxed out from Christmas and groceries. I don't know. I don't. There's a solution to the problem, but the problem with the solution is that everybody doesn't come out smiling. And until you find a solution where everybody comes out with what they want, especially now that they've pushed it so hard that, you can't even offend somebody today. So what's going to happen when the possibility of them, whatever changes are made, hey, there's a 90% chance that you're probably going to die. You think that's going to go over? No. I don't know. But I've seen it all year long where it was on the money to do shit. Mostly it's people that have no other option but to spend the money. But spend it. Because people don't have the disposable income anymore. It's because, the taxation's so high. The extortion rate has went up so much that people just can't afford shit for the most part. People are living paycheck to paycheck. Now you have the stress of getting hurt, falling behind, or there's a lot of families out there. One of the two people were to get hurt, it's game over. Now they're living in a car with 2 kids, and they're living in their family's house or some shit. So that's cool, day. Sign says it is almost flying. I don't know. I just want to talk about that because it's been talked. I heard it. They banned Risky Chrisky's channel, and everybody has their idea of the truth. There's only one truth. You can think all this other shit that you want to think, but there's only one truth. And most people don't realize what that truth is, and they won't realize what it is until it's too late. Until it's personally too late to them. And none of it, just the if you support something that you fear, you should really think about what you support. I don't know too many people where when a cop gets behind them, their assholes don't pucker up. And it's not because they're afraid in the sense like, oh, I'm going to die right now. It's just like nobody wants to be messed with. Nobody wants the $100 ticket for not using your turn signal. Or down here, it's a $30 ticket for not wearing your seatbelt, that's just a moneymaker for the state. There's no argument to be made that I can hurt anybody by not wearing my seatbelt but me. And the argument to me was that was made by the state trooper was that he was the one that had to go inform my family. I mean, if you don't want the job, don't sign up to do the job, dumbass. That's the advice I got. I'm not gonna drive like shit. All right, I gotta go. I gotta run the store. Then I have to. I gotta finish. I'll finish up the job. We'll see how it turns out. How you guys doing? Who's all here? I can't see. Sam, how you doing, bud? What's up, Mr. Black? How you doing, sir? Miss Black? Chris? Hey, Chris Harris, how you been, buddy? Yeah. Man, if you want to know if I'm alive, all you gotta do is call me. Well, that's what I said, Steven. I mean, well, here's the thing, though, is that if you're in a community, certain things have to be talked about sometimes. But they're going to have to be. Um, Oops, who's dropping it? And if that's your solution to it, is to block everybody that calls you talking about certain things, then you're 8 of the 10. You prove my point. I mean, because the day is going to come where, we see it. We're getting closer and closer to where the day's coming. They're going to be kicking in your doors because of your opinions or because of what you said. So let's say that, you know, somebody and they told you that your car's been pulled, they're going to be kicking in your door. So you call up Joe Blow and say, "Hey man, I got all these guns and shit. I need to get them out of here. Here's why." Which now it turns into a conspiracy thing. I mean, if that person has blocked you, are you a good part of the community, or would he be a good part of the community? No, coming and helping you get the shit out of there before they steal it from you would be the best thing to do. Because number A, you're only going to be able to use one gun, possibly two. B, so the rest of the shit they're just going to take and keep for themselves or destroy. Probably keep for themselves or send to Ukraine. A lot of that's been going on lately. They take guns from people on the street, then they send them to people to use on the street in Ukraine. There really is no community. There's small groups of people that are friends. They can rely on each other. But as a community, like it'll never happen because opinions are so varied so widely about certain things. Like I tell people all the time, don't ever say anything to me that you wouldn't scream in public. And for the most part, um, as a whole, that does it doesn't happen, or that's the way it is. Except for me, I kind of say whatever I want anymore. I'm just I don't care. Air chainsaws running. I gotta go. I want to get this day over with fast because tomorrow's going to be a bad day already. Tomorrow I have a set of concrete steps that probably weighs, they got to weigh 800 or 900 pounds sitting on a trailer. And I have to somehow get off the trailer and into position. I have no clue how I'm going to do it yet. I guess we're going to go back to the Egyptian style, get it jacked up, put it on some rollers, and roll it, roll it off the drag. But then once it's on the ground, not really sure how we're going to maneuver it into place. I have some ideas. We'll get it done. Hopefully we don't break the steps though. But I got to go. You guys have a good day and stay safe, please.